Oh, okay. Do we need to do that again?
Spontaneity just went out the window because I lost a lid.
No worries.
Now you know what's
It spontaneously do exactly what you just did. It was perfect.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
You like inducted, not awarded?
No, inductor's bit.
Inducted.
Yeah.
All right.
Or wait for the because that's gonna. We'll sound like we're in the Bronx.
We're trying to keep quiet.
I know.
Yeah.
Just look at that. The world is rebelling.
Sounds like an earthquake.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Anyway.
I pulled most of those out.
Okay. Good for you. Okay.
Right. We're pleased to have Kate Ceberano here with us this evening. Kate is being inducted into the Australian Songwriters Hall of Fame this evening for her songwriting. So welcome, Kate.
Thank you.
Good.
I was just thinking the word inducted, it always takes me back to science classes. I'm not quite sure why, but
Inducted.
there's inducing some sort of experiment, you know, when you're making something occur, and it's beautiful. It's a very traditional and
Will you induct
formal
electricity?
way. Yeah.
Well,
no, that's conduct. Induce. Induct.
Induct.
Anyway, all I'm saying is I'm enjoying that it's so formal. It's awesome.
Okay, great. So, given the awards that you've received over the years, how do you feel about receiving one for your songwriting?
I think it's probably the most important award I will have ever received in my career as a musician, and I'm a little bit. I'm all, you know, on the outside, like business as usual in terms of just preparing for it and having a bit of a sing and a laugh with the band and stuff. But inside, I'm kind of emotional, actually. I think it's a very important award for an artist, and I've spoken with the Brewster brothers and you
Yes.
know, earlier recipients, and it's the heart and soul of what we do as musicians. I mean, how we transport ourselves and our music in and on to stage is sort of like a necessary evil, but it's that private place, it's that private moment when you first put pen to paper that makes all the difference between whether you're going to be an artist for life or just an artist for a split second.
Right. And just travelling back again, when did you first become interested in music? When did that little bell go off in your head?
I don't recall an exact moment, but I know I have, like, there are traces of me from all the way back through to when I was about 12, you know, like a litter of paper trails. You know, it could have been like anything, a drink coaster or a matchbox or a toilet paper roll. Or I remember even, like, you know, in fact, this is all part of what I was going to talk about tonight, writing great long lines up my thigh and on my hands and up my arms of things that I was, you know, I didn't want to forget, whether it was something I'd observed in the playground or a particular sounding phrase that I thought was quite canny. And I think that started really young. I think the wordsmith aspect of writing started much younger than the music in me.
Right. Yeah. So when did the music start to come to you? Did you learn an instrument when you were younger and that brought it on?
Yeah. The first... Well, two tracks that I first performed on the keyboard, you know, just by ear were Candle in the Wind, Elton John, and Kate Bush, Man with a Child in His Eyes. So fairly traditional and simple chord structure, you know, and I haven't really progressed beyond that. I find I'm pretty primitive when it comes to writing, but I play by ear and I'm very loyal to what I'm listening to in my head. So I'll work really hard to find the song, put it into an arrangement, and quite often I'll walk away from the piano and never be able to play it again. So it's a tool, it's a means to an end for me. I probably work quite differently in that sense to other trained musicians.
Right.
But it's a strict means to an end, and it gets me there because I'm hearing the music inside me. I hear all of the arrangement. I know where I want it to modulate and where I want it to slow down and where the band to drop out. And I mean, I'm hearing it all. Yeah.
So when you come to write a song, what comes first for you? Is it the lyrics or the melody, or do they all just sort of come together?
I don't think there's a standard operating procedure, actually. No. Sometimes I've had a poem based around a phrase. For instance, my mum and dad got married, and my mother's and my stepfather got married, and I felt there was a phrase that was you know, appropriate to her. And in writing up a song, it took me, I mean, it literally came out, and the song was written within 20 minutes. Whereas there are other songs where I can labour for many, many days. And in fact, I need to sort of park it and let it marinate.
Yes, I know what
Yeah.
you mean.
And come back it again, and even again, if it's not still right, I've got no problems about just neglecting it for quite a long time. And then one day there'll just be this epiphany, and it's usually where you least expect it, you know, middle of the night, always good to have pen and paper by the band.
Yes.
Or it'll be when you're listening to another band and you've heard some transition where they've moved into some other place, and suddenly you go home and you just change all the music, but the words remain the same. And I'm always open, I'm always looking, I'm very hungry for that kind of change. And the other thing is, as well, I rely a lot on co-writers as well.
Yes.
I love working with other people.
So what's the favourite song that you've ever written?
There are a couple. In terms of like a perfect sort of pop poem, I really love Pash, and I think that not a lot of people know the words particularly. They've enjoyed the song, but I crafted that as a piece of pop art, and it was exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to write it like a little sort of like an Andy Warhol sort of moment,
right?
And really get that adolescent love, and under the neon lights of the Westfield shopping centre. Like, you know, sometimes you want to say something and you just say exactly what you wanted to say to express where you were at a certain time in your life. I think that was one I was really happy with.
And that's the beauty of writing your own songs. You can do that, can't you?
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, being a songwriter organisation, I'd just like to ask you what advice you have for young up-and-coming songwriters in terms of what they should do, how passionate they should be, and methodically as well. What would you say to a group of young songwriters?
Well, the one thing that I know to be true is that each and every one of us have our own unique style, and you have to be wary of the critic in you, and don't write with a razor. Excuse me. In other cultures that won't communicate as beautifully. But you don't want to be rubbing out stuff, because you must let yourself be free to make errors and do your worst. And also, you can't be somewhere where you're not yet, where you haven't yet arrived to. Be, you know, like you can't be in the moment pretending that you're 2 years down the track and wondering how that song's going to affect something else or some circumstance. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
I say, simply have to kind of own up to where you are and who you are and your limitations. And then, as you evolve and you do more and more of it, you might not notice, but you've gotten better, or you've gotten worse. But you have to be willing to be where you are at that moment.
Right.
And then life itself will guide you. You know, nature has a wonderful way of putting you on the stage or putting your work on the stage. And if it doesn't, well, then there are other ways to find your muse as a writer. It might be you become a great writer about writing, you know. But I say just keep your heart open and never underestimate observation. Like, sometimes words are meaningless. First one has to get the concept, and then the words will come next.
Right. Okay, wonderful
And
advice.
the concept is senior.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Kate. We'll wind it up there because we have a show to put on. But
Thank you.
lovely talking to you. That's Kate Ceberano, the 2014 Songwriters Hall of Fame inductee. Got it.